Hi, my name's Josh Genie, and I'm here with Drew Henderson from the Cool Kids Club today. And we're going to be talking a little bit about how kids have dealt with anxiety during the COVID period, which has been the last 6 months. And yeah, we're just here to talk about, ask Drew some questions about her experiences during that time with the kids from the Cool Kids Club.
Yeah.
So,
Hello.
welcome
Thank
Drew.
you.
So yeah, what is your role at the Cool Kids Club?
So I'm one of 5 activity workers. We work with kids to build up their protective factors and their skills in the local area. Generally we do, pre-COVID, we did 1 to 2 afternoon programs each day, whether it be swimming lessons, surfing, beach adventures, kids' choice, a number of different things. And we do therapeutic mentoring with some kids that have been identified needing some extra support within the schools during the day. So yeah, that's about my role as an activities worker.
Yeah, and how has your service changed during the COVID lockdowns and as we've come out of them?
It's changed a lot. I think the whole year generally has been a lot of changes from, the bushfire smoke affecting program to pandemic affecting program. Specifically with coronavirus, we couldn't do afternoon programs or go into the schools, obviously, because the schools were closed for therapeutic mentoring. So we kind of adjusted to doing Zoom programs. We weren't able to access a lot of the kids on program because they didn't have laptops or internet at home, so we spent a lot of time sourcing those laptops and internet with the larger Weave organisation for some of our clients. So eventually every child that didn't have access to internet now does in their home for the kids that are on our program. But we did some therapeutic mentoring by the phone. We would call our kids about half an hour to an hour each, or we would, for some that were allowed to, if their parents or carers were comfortable, we would do one-on-one therapeutic mentoring in their front yards. We would go to them. Just trying to do some ad hoc casework for some parents to support that, and a lot of food security for our families, as it was really hard to access. A lot of them don't have cars. Getting public transport during a pandemic with 3 kids with you is not appropriate.
And what is the age range of the kids that you work with?
Technically, we work with 7 to 13-year-olds. So we transition them into high school from primary school. So once they transition into year 7, they actually become switch leaders and can come on program and be an older teenage role model for the kids in the Cool Kids program, pretty much. So yeah, we did a lot of support with the switch leaders as well during coronavirus, because I think it affected the older kids a bit more as well, or noticeably for them, affected them a bit more.
And how did it affect them?
I think just like having no sport, no social cohesion. It was a lot of just online, a lot of TikTok. TikTok has been great this year because it kept a lot of people busy. But then a lot of other things have come up on TikTok that we had to deal with. So it was interesting, but they miss training, they miss playing sports, they miss buying new footy shoes. Every Zoom session we talked about sports. They showed us their medals they're so proud of. It was really great to get to know them more. But they missed out on a lot of team sports, which is sad for them.
And during this period, going back to school and stuff like that, did their anxieties rise? Or
definitely. So some of them were really, really, really used to being at home and in that schedule of home life. Sleeping really late, waking up really late, TikTok for hours, eating some snacks, and changing that, getting them back to school by 9 a.m, finishing at 3 p.m, getting to sleep. A lot of them are still struggling now with that schedule. They think 4 to 5 hours is a really long sleep, which is ridiculous. And so it has been, for some of them, a really difficult transition back to school. Some of them have changed schools, some of them have gone a couple of days a week, and we're often finding them at home sick, or when we so it's I think a lot of them, they wouldn't call it anxiety because they don't know how to identify that, but it's a huge like attachment thing with being at home now and feeling safe there. Whereas, you know, a handful on the other side were so keen to get back to school. Were like, this is my area, this is what I love, and that was lovely to see. But collectively, I think it's been a little bit of a struggle getting back into schedules. For some it's been really challenging. It's been a full-on time. Even getting a corona test for some of them is a whole difficult thing. Like, stressful because it's invasive and they're scared. They're like, oh, does that mean I have corona? But also stressful because, again, like, a lot of single parents taking a kid who they suspect might have corona on a bus, 3 of them, you know, to get tested is a whole thing. And so those anxieties, those kids were picking up on that a lot. And a lot of them just wanted to stay close to their parent or carer.
And how have their parents and carers coped during this?
They have done amazingly. Like, obviously, like, shown huge resilience. I don't know how they did it or continue to do it, but the parents they stepped up amazingly. Like, a lot of the anxiety was shielded by the parents, I think. So they would call up being like, I don't think I'm smart enough to do my kids' homework with them. And it's like, we all, like, I dropped maths early year 10. So it's like, I know that feeling of like, they're trying to keep their kids engaged in doing maths. So we actually did start offering not just mentoring, but tutoring for some of the kids who, like, their parents thought they were really struggling. So we would just go down and do some of their homework with them. The physical distancing from the kids have actually been one of the hardest things, because as soon as they see you, they run up to you. They're like, and you have to be like, corona, touch my foot. And so and like, they would be like, but I don't have corona. And it's like, I know, but like, you don't know if and they would be like, well, do you have corona? Like, and the first time the kids saw us with masks, no.
Didn't want it?
No. It was like, wait, do you have corona? And it's like, no, I don't have corona, but it's just for safety measures. Explaining public health measures
because
to
it is quite intrusive.
It is. It's a full-on thing. And we do have them for the kids if they want them. You know, we make them use hand sanitizer and stuff, but they only just want to play with them. And then when you have like 10 on a program, you're like, get away from each other. Like, you know, but generally we've transitioned to having programs in the afternoon based on schools. So instead of mixing the schools, we've kept it to kids that are kind of already in the same class, siblings, cousins that are already together. Which has worked, but it's been a bit of a drawback because they're not seeing their other friends from other schools and building those other relationships out of school and out of their cousins.
Which is
and
a kind of a core.
Well, it's really important part of Cool Kids to, you know, make new friends, but like be successful in talking to other people and, you know, learning those skills about how to meet other people and, you know, make friends.
Have you been able to use technology to cross that?
The barrier? Zoom sessions, oh my gosh. So like, only, you know, maybe like 10 kids would come to the Zooms, like not constantly, but quite a lot. But those core kids across different schools made great relationships. And, you know, they would be like, oh yeah, so we added each other on TikTok and Twitch, and, you know, are you going to come on after? And so their friendships have actually built a lot based online. And it was really nice to see some of them who wouldn't be friends, like on programs. You wouldn't see them intermingle or whatever. They would be, you know, we would do things at the end, be like, okay, we're going to do one last activity, show us the item you're most proud of. And the kids would bring out their trophies or bring out, you know, 2 of the boys have been gifted didgeridoos from their mentor at Kari, and they brought it out, and, you know, the other kids were like, that's amazing, you should be so proud. Like, you know, just being so supportive and so empathetic to each other that it gave them that space to do that, where on program they might be supportive or be like, oh, that's nice of you, but they would never have the confidence to be like, you should be so proud of yourself, like, blah, blah. Like, they were really thinking about the activities and taking them on and their impacts on other kids.
You mentioned like Kari before and other services. Like, have they been really supportive during this time as well?
Yes. So I think that the kids have some kids that are in both services. So some of our kids from the inner city particularly go to Tribal Warrior, which
awesome.
it's amazing. We've seen such improvements of those kids, just in general, of like schedule, sleep, because they get picked up so early to go to boxing, being fed, talking to other people, talking to community members that they can look up to, and older people that maybe were having the same situation as them when they were kids, who are still there at 5 a.m. doing their boxing with Tribal Warrior. So yeah, there has definitely been like more of a cohesive support, I think, with the organisations in the area. Like, I think we've talked to JNC much more, especially with the food security stuff, all that kind of stuff. There's been much more integration.
As I understand it, like, you have about 95% of your kids are Indigenous, Aboriginal. And so how's it been, like, with those sorts of anxieties, not being able to see their extended families?
Yeah, it has been a lot. So we actually had, some of the kids had like sorry business, which is a death in the family during coronavirus, and it was really upsetting that, because when that happens, usually you go back to country and you spend time there and you grieve and you mourn with your family, and I think a lot of the kids weren't able to do that, which was really difficult, and obviously difficult just in the sense that, like, I live at La Perouse, and down the mission it was like, do not come in here unless you live here or you're an essential worker, because they're a community that is at risk and they've got higher health issues and stuff like that. So the kids were going into their houses with a big sign saying like, don't enter here, which created a lot of anxiety. And they were like, am I doing something bad by visiting Nan? Am I, and I think like a lot of our families have kinship and family as respite care. Like your sister will take your kids for the day so you can get some stuff done, or what. It's not even respite, it's like you're going shopping. You're going shopping without kids, or a day off. But like, and that's really important. Like, childcare is ridiculously expensive. We don't have access to that. So it really affected a lot of pressure on the parents, and a lot of not seeing Nan, not seeing Auntie, who are really important figures in their life, like day-to-day figures in their life. So it was really, I think, jarring for them, because it was like, but I can be with Mum, I can be with, and it's like, but Nan and Pop are more at risk, and like trying to explain that to them so that they weren't scared, but that they understood. I don't know if all of them still get it, but it was a lot of change, and again, a lot of pressure on the parents to deal with everyone at home, food shopping, going to doctors, like anything became a huge task. Like a day-long task, or a few days-long task to do anything, let alone teach your kids their work.
You mentioned the food security. You would use that like as a kind of a welfare sort of check as well, like to
just to check in on the parents, making sure they're okay, and making sure they knew that yes, we are a children's program, but we understand that whole family holistic is what matters. So especially like a lot of our, I think it's like up to 75 to 80% of our families are single parent or carer families. So it was very difficult for them, and just having that adult conversation, like just having someone at the door being like, here's your food, but how are you, like what's been going on, and just having that chat would alleviate so much. They'd be like, oh, I didn't know if I was wrong, or if I'm the only one feeling this, and it's like, no, you are doing amazing and you're doing the best, and to feel pressure right now is normal because you are under pressure. So I think that was really good, in the sense that I wouldn't say like so much like a welfare check, but just like checking in, just making sure that if there was anything that they needed, they knew they could ask us. Like, we could be first point of call. Anything stressful, like, don't hesitate
you were there,
to call
and you
us.
built that. And you said you built that
and I think
even more during
it's been so much better now that we do see those families, and we can check in and say, how are you going with this kind of stuff? And it's less intensive now, because obviously people can go out and do some stuff, but it has been one really, really good positive point out of this. Like, it's been really nice to have those relationships, and they know that we're there for them as well. It's been good.
That's fantastic. Like, I like that one last question, I suppose, is just around, and we've touched on this all the way through, is like, is there any other strategies that you've used around anxiety to kind of quell people, the
Yeah.
young people's anxieties during?
So we've definitely in therapeutic mentoring for a lot of children focused on, a lot of them generally we focus on identifying their emotions,
Yep.
which makes it easier for them to understand why they should take deep breaths or why they
Yep.
should remove themselves and have a sit in nature, or why, because just saying to a kid like, okay, just take a deep breath and walk away, they're like, I always breathe.
Yep.
Why are you telling me to breathe?
Yep.
But when you explain anxiety and you explain why stresses in life happen and how we don't all have the tools to cope with that,
Yep.
and there are ways that we can make that better and make you feel better and nicer, and different kids for different things. Some may really benefit from just walking in nature and being like on country and with the earth. Some really benefit from having it written out for them. Like,
Yep.
this is what anxiety is. This is what it might feel like. This
Yep.
is how you can help it a little bit.
Yep.
So we have definitely in therapeutic mentoring and on program been focusing on them, one, like just enjoying themselves as kids, but
Yep.
two, really kind of trying to get them to identify their emotions so that they know what they're feeling, and then we can help them not fix what they're feeling,
Yep.
but understand
Understand
it and maybe alleviate some of their stresses. Kids probably won't identify what they're feeling as anxiety. It's usually comes out as, I'm sad, I feel sick, or they get angry, really frustrated at really little things. We've had a lot of parents being like, they're really angry all the time, and it's about knowing that anxiety can come up in different ways for
Yep.
different people. Like most people have anxiety in their life, and maybe how a parent experiences it won't be the same as their child experiences it, but just recognizing that that is probably a factor in their behavior, and
Yep.
just offering that support of saying, I hear you and I also feel what you're feeling, and I understand that it's really hard in this time and you're doing your best. Having kids having that and knowing that when they're feeling bad they can say, hey, I'm not feeling good,
Yep.
is one of the most important things. Secondary to that, I would say, like, just learning really basic ways of getting your kids to breathe through things or de-escalating situations, because I know it's easy, all of us, it's easy when somebody's going off, when you're sharing a room or whatever, it's easy to be like, oh, can you just leave me alone, can you just be quiet, which in coronavirus, no shade to anyone, that's, we all need to be left alone sometimes, but I think when you have the opportunity to just calm somebody down and de-escalate a situation, it really creates a strong response from them to know that they're supported and that they're cared for, and know what they're feeling. Like identifying that as, are you worried about this? Are you anxious about this? So that they understand different words for different feelings, and maybe they can learn to articulate it a bit more, and therefore we can help a bit more. Or as parents or carers or anyone can, do something a little bit different. But I think the first thing is just recognizing that as a parent you're going through so much pressure, anxiety. Kids are probably also feeling that, but they don't have the words to say it.
They can't.
So I think just recognizing that in the first place, and when you have the energy to just take that time and sit through it and, talk to them there and then. And sometimes they're not easy to talk to when they're crying and blowing up and just screaming, and that's okay.
And I suppose that, pressure or the pressure that kind of came up during this time when people were homeschooling as well. And it's just like the advice that I was given, it's just like, you just do your job.
Literally.
Yeah, you just do your job, and they'll learn.
Yeah.
But but that was an important part for me as well.
I think that's as well, it's like to recognize we're in a global pandemic.
Yes.
Nobody has been in this situation since the Spanish flu.
Yep.
Things have changed a lot, and I think it's like, if you're getting through the day, you're doing your best.